First time not. No. This one's house in Eugene, and it's really appropriate that Glenn is here as well, because he may or may not remember this story, but Bruce was in high school and was working at a chicken ranch. And being involved in the chicken ranch, he had certain duties that he had to do, mostly clean eggs and put them in a box. Well, in conversation over dinner at our house on Elizabeth Street, Bruce was talking about the glasses that the chickens wore. And Aunt Kathleen said, no way, the chickens don't wear glasses. And Bruce is, you know, as a 16, 17-year-old, rather insistently, they do wear glasses. Well, it got to be the point where nobody believed anybody. We all ended up loading up in the car and going over to Jensen's Chicken Ranch, where Bruce went out and grabbed a chicken and brought it up to show Kathleen that they, in fact, had glasses. Now, you have to understand what glasses are to a chicken. They're steel, actually they're a shutter almost, and they would put a pin through the chicken's nose, and the shutter would be in front of their eyes. And it was designed so the chickens wouldn't fight. Because to see who they were going to fight, they had to tip their head down, and they'd look over those steel, those blanks in front of their eyes, and when they got ready to strike, they'd lift their heads back up, and they didn't know where to strike. Chicken glasses. And it was really kind of an interesting day to go out and look at the chicken ranch with all the glasses on the chicken. It was a fun deal.
He said, well, where did they get all those glasses?
Yeah.
And Bill, being the wit that he is, he said, how do you think Simler got started?
Like Bob said, the nucleus of all of us coming together was at Auntie Short. And Carol Joyce sent us
Hey, Matt.
what she remembered. And you know, it's just bizarre to me. I read this.
Let me see how many pictures are
I
left.
remember Auntie's little chuckle and her singing Mare
Okay, got 5 more shots.
Do you need extra film?
Do you know that until I read that, I didn't know that's what it said? I thought it was Mare-zy-do, dozy-do, I thought it all ran together. I didn't know that it actually said.
What, 15?
Yeah, I know, it just takes a few years. And we're gonna try to get Nancy to
Go tell Matthew that I want to see him.
And then taking pictures.
Okay.
and down in the middle. So, for the little ones here,
What's the song?
This one.
don't sit down, the chair's on.
And your chair's
There's a little lamb-de-divey, a tiddly-divey too, wouldn't you? Down in the middle. Down in the meadow in the itty-bitty pool, sweet little fishes, and the mama fishes too. Swim, said the mama fish, swim as you can. So they swam and they swam all over the dam. Now,
That's enough.
get lost with the free little fishes in one of these spots. So, what they do, they swam back over the dam. Anthony, we're going to get back to you, but start thinking about Little Bunny.
Yeah, we got music for that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
We got music for that one.
We got a trigger for you.
Let's see. Well, Rondi Laura had this one on her slip of stuff. And I guess the best thing I can do is just read it. It says, Uncle Russell calls me Rondi. Everyone else in the family calls me Laura. Now there's a real surprise, isn't there? How many of us have got different names than we really had? I mean, we got Uncle Swen, but everybody called him Ben. And who else did we have? Well, and Catherine was Peggy, which is auntie to us. I mean, you got three names there. And Buck, everybody called Buck, and it really named Tom. Let me see, your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, on that side of it. Anyway, everyone else, the family used to call her Laura. Every family member is so special to me. And I think that really goes for all of us about our family. And I have lots of wonderful memories. Auntie, I always spelled it with a Y. Has always been the wind beneath our wings. She always has been so much fun. Always singing, laughing, telling stories, playing on the floor, etc. I guess I couldn't talk too well and would say, I should have did, I didn't do. I should have, but I didn't though.
I should have, but I didn't.
She should have. See, I can't. She still reminds me of it. So there we are. That's one that's out of that one.
Ronnie Rose sent us some ideas, some memories, and where's Cheryl? I'm right here. Okay, this is for you. Ronnie Rose was telling us about coming back from somewhere and going back into their house with Ronnie Rose and Cheryl. Ronnie Rose was curled up on the floor of the car, and Cheryl was sleeping on the seat. And Cheryl was, you know,
I didn't even know.
head to the side,
All I
and
know is we're
Ronnie Rose
losing.
was up and talking to Cheryl. She just did, because Cheryl won't answer her. Well, unbeknownst to Ronnie Rose, Cheryl kept her eyes open. So she was sound asleep, and she was upset because she wouldn't answer her. Cheryl came by that honestly. Louis sleeps with his eyes open too.
There was a couple of things that happened as far as travel in our family. I was a little kid, but we had one of my cousins. I didn't know him very well, but he had made a trip down to Southern California with three of his friends in a '49 Ford. And I was just a young kid at that time, and I remembered this trip very vividly because when Dick and one of his friends finally came back into Eugene, he was down to about $3.50 or $4 between the two of them. He had a flat tire in the trunk, and my dad and I believe brother and I and Dick made the trip to a gas station to buy a tire. And as a young, impressionable young person, looking at this rack of used tires that were selling for 75 cents to $1, it struck me very strange why Dick insisted upon buying a tire that was bald. And I can remember this to this day because he says if it's got any tread on it, we haven't got very much use out of it. They seem to be blowing a lot of tires coming back from California. Now, Dick and his friend left our house, said they had about $4.50, which was going to be enough money to get them back to Tacoma. Well, they stopped off, I believe, at Glenna's house, and Glenna was kind enough to give them a couple extra dollars. They filled the tank up full of gas, and as they got back across or came across the toll bridge, they had no money for toll. Yes? No? The man and Dick, how did you get back home? There you go! Very ingenious. We can see why he made it all the way to the top of his profession. You know? And it was somebody else's hubcap. Anyway, that was a story that I remembered and talked to Rondi about. It was really unique to have a guy who was like 18 and traveled to Southern California and made that trip. I also have one other side note to that. My brother made a like trip, but it wasn't all the way to Southern California. He got his Vespa scooter in Eugene, and he rode it to his grandma and grandpa's house in Klamath Falls, up over the Willamette Pass, on this little Vespa scooter. And I think it took him like 10 hours. Where you at, Bruce? It was cold, I'll tell you that. About 10 hours on this little Vespa scooter, and I don't know how many tires he had to buy, but I know that when he got back home, he didn't own the Vespa that much longer. It was pretty well toasted.